Sound of Freedom has a message filled with hope and inspiration. The film sparks conversations and encourages people to help end trafficking in their own community. Go see it.
They killed them, they dismembered them, they cut up their intestines, and they took the feces out and they ate it. There's a 16-year-old girl. She had some diary entries written in code about her experiences being and impregnated by Epstein. They forced her to carry that baby to term, and they let her keep the baby for a few minutes. Then they came in, took the baby away, ripped it away from this, and they did who knows what.
When I came over here, I was in my mid-20s.
Right.
The first time I really came over here. You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on, because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And and I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like...
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
A new document from the Epstein files just leaked, exposing disturbing details of what Epstein and his associates had planned for Mel Gibson after he exposed their CT rings to the feds. The media did a fantastic job at brainwashing a lot of people into thinking that Mel was the problem, when he was actually one of the few people looking out for the victims. Now, don't get me wrong, Mel definitely did enough things to get himself canceled, like being blatantly racist and anti-Semitic, but that's not all there is to him. But Epstein paid good money to have the media make us think that, so no one would catch on to everything else he was exposing. The crazy thing is that he even went as far as producing a movie, Sound of Freedom, that was supposed to open up our eyes, but the pushback he received for it was next-level evil. Now, as y'all already know, the DOJ released millions of pages connected to Epstein, containing victim statements and evidence of young girls being targeted at malls, schools, and other places. Apparently, they manipulated them with money, fake modeling opportunities, catering jobs, and all these little promises that sounded good at first, only for them to end up with Epstein at his island. Well, this led to people digging deeper into some comments that Mel had made some years ago, flat out trying to tell us about what was going on behind the scenes. The first thing that resurfaced was an interview from 1998, where Mel revealed some disturbing things about Epstein. You see, back when Mel Gibson got pushed out of Hollywood, most people thought it was strictly because of all the racism and anti-Semitism controversy attached to his name. And don't get me wrong, that was definitely the public reason everybody ran with. But now, with everything that's been coming out about Hollywood, people are starting to wonder if there was more to it than that. Word on the street is that Mel may have also been iced out because he allegedly refused to play along with the darker side of the industry, the Epstein side. He has been very vocal about the CT rings and the way powerful people protect each other when victims start speaking up. And what makes him stand out even more is that, even though he's very open about his Christian faith, he has still called out the church.
Face all these different religions until it comes to Christianity. And for whatever reason, that represents like white male, you know, whatever it represents, colonialism, you know, whatever it represents, it's negative.
Yeah, sure, it's gotten a bad rap. And people do feel free to beat up on it.
Mm-hmm.
Even I do when I see it's like, you know, when it's not fair, or when I think it's off.
Right.
Know? Like, you know, when they appoint some cardinal in some diocese and he's been covering up for like people who are child molesters.
Yes.
Or, you know, like Theodore McCarrick or Cardinal Wuerl or those kind of guys. I mean.
Or the Pope.
Yes, absolutely. I'm
Benedict.
Not Benny. Well, he was covering up, but like, so is the guy now.
Is he really?
Well, yeah. It's not great.
Now, Mel didn't just stop at speaking out against CT rings. In 2023, he publicly put everything on blast in his movie Sound of Freedom. The film was supposed to come out in 2018, but it ended up getting shelved for about 5 years before finally being released in 2023. Word on the street is the higher-ups didn't want that film getting attention because it was putting a spotlight on the exact kind of things they've been benefiting from behind closed doors.
And with so many powerful people already being tied to Epstein, Diddy, Weinstein, and all these other shady people, it makes sense why they were working overtime to bury it.
One of the most disturbing problems in our world today is human trafficking, and particularly the trafficking of children. Now, the first step in eradicating this crime is awareness.
And the crazy thing is that this wasn't the first time they cut his funding to stop him from putting out a project they didn't like. Back in 2004, when he was looking for funding to make his iconic movie The Passion of Christ, he said he felt like the industry was trying to get him to abandon his faith, but he wasn't going for any of that. He stood his ground to fund the movie by himself, and this absolutely pissed them off.
Resistance to that movie.
Oh yeah, no, there was
Which I thought was very strange. There was like Hollywood resistance to that movie. Like people didn't like that you were making it. It seemed like.
Yeah, there was a lot of opposition to it, and I don't know. I think if you ever hit on that subject matter, you're gonna get people going, because
Of course.
it's big subject.
Because there's resistance, first of all, from secular Hollywood, where for whatever reason, Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
But see, at the time, a lot of people completely missed the bigger message behind Sound of Freedom. They thought it was just another movie about CT. But now, with all this Epstein mess, people are realizing Mel may have been trying to show us something much deeper. And what's crazy is, even after all these Epstein files started circulating, some people are still acting clueless. Like, how many more dots do y'all need connected before you admit these elite circles have been doing the stuff people have been warning us about for years? In fact, there was a part in the file that revealed that he allegedly purchased hundreds of gallons of sulfuric acid around the same time investigations were closing in on him. Because let's be real, nobody is casually ordering that much acid for no reason while being connected to one of the worst CT cases in modern history. The timing alone had people screaming cover-up. And then there were also alleged emails and documents being talked about online that supposedly exposed even more depraved things. And to make matters even worse, some celebrities, including Chrissy Teigen, were also accused of being involved, after several tweets of hers shamelessly expressing some PDF file thoughts she had been having went viral. For example, multiple tweets like this one said, "Seeing little girls do the splits half naked is just, I want to put myself in jail. Hashtag, toddlers and tiaras. I just saw a baby that looked like a corn star. Like a trashy do-anything corn star. Is this wrong to think? I am going to jail over pizza." Now, at the time, people thought that the pizza these celebrities were talking about was the same pizza we know. You know, the regular one you munch on when you go to Domino's or something. But it turns out it wasn't. You see, even before the Epstein files dropped, there were already some conspiracy theories about what pizza actually meant in Hollywood, and people connected it to CT. If y'all remember, there was a whole thing called Pizzagate that was trending during the 2016 elections. The whole Pizzagate conspiracy also hinted at elites as part of a cult mistreating little people and even consuming them. Now, of course, Hillary denied it and did a whole damage control campaign. But just like everything else, people are revisiting it, and they now 100% believe the conspiracy was real.
Look, I mean, the crazy story about me running a operation out of a basement of a pizzeria. Don't laugh. Don't laugh. It was a huge story. And it got one young man in North Carolina to get in his car with his, a rifle and drive up to liberate these non-existent children and shoot up a pizzeria in Washington, D.C. This is dangerous stuff. It starts online, often on the dark web. It migrates. It's picked up by the pro-Trump media. It's then reported on by everybody else, which makes sure it has about 100% coverage, and people believe it. So I don't know what it's going to be, but it will be something, and we'll have to work very, very hard to make sure that it is exposed.
If the person okayed it, I would eat a human. If you were at a very fancy restaurant and they were like a tiny piece of meat.
No. I think the only way
you wouldn't try a tiny bite?
No.
Really?
Absolutely not.
For years, there has been a long-standing conspiracy theory that Hollywood and the elites harvest the blood of young people and transfuse it in order to reverse age. And now the Epstein files might have revealed that that is in fact true. In this email to Jeffrey Epstein, it says, all you need is a blood transfusion from the pack and you reverse aging. This is where Adrenochrome comes into play. It is a real chemical compound found in the when the body is in a fight or flight situation. And we know that the kids that were involved in Jeffrey Epstein's network were definitely put into fight or flight. And of course, we've seen Hollywood elites like Chrissy Teigen tweet about how they're going to a party where they're serving up 4-year-old cheese pizza with adrenochrome and, of course, the eye emoji. And according to the FBI code words, cheese stands for little girl and pizza stands for girl. Now back to the email. The subject is Dr. Agus, a professor of medicine and biomedical engineering at USC, pretty local to Hollywood. He is also the founding director and CEO of the Ellison Medical Institute. You know, the medical institute funded by Larry Ellison, the new owner of TikTok. And he's also hosted a Paramount show with big celebs like Ashton Kutcher and Oprah Winfrey. If you know, you know.
And remember that 1998 interview I mentioned earlier? Well, it was resurfaced right after the recent Epstein files, and it's disturbing to say the least. In it, Mel was going into details about the weird, paranoid suspicions about Hollywood's inner workings when he first moved to California from Australia. Even though he didn't go into details about what exactly those weird things were, people believe he was talking about all these celebrities touching little people and using them for rituals.
I was in my mid-20s the first time I really came over here. You know, I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand. Right. And I formed a bunch of opinions about the town. Surely that couldn't be because, and then you go away and you think, no, I was wrong. I mean, that's insane thinking. I'm paranoid. I imagined that stuff. That couldn't be the reason for why so-and-so was acting like, could it? And then you find out later on the track that you were exactly on track with a lot of this stuff. Not specifically on track, but that you could, that some of your worst nightmares were real at the time, and you think, it does rip your life to pieces.
Does it?
If you'll let it.
Yeah.
These little heathens with no soul downstairs with horns on their head with a battering ram trying to like walls in.
Yeah.
But it doesn't take very long. It's cascading on you all the time. You can't get away from certain attitudes, from certain modes of behavior that this town and the industry dictate. No matter how strong you are, you are going to be affected by this place. And I think it takes that kind of cockroach resilience. You can't get mad. You can't get mad. You can't let it get you, because you have to make a deal with everyone else, and it's almost unspoken, that you are going to be f***ed over at some point.
I mean, as a matter of interest, do you think it's easier because you're an outsider who came in?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because it was glaring to me, because I was an outsider who came in.
Women, you know.
There's a producer I know, successful producer, I will not mention names, but his whole opinion about women on film, from beginning to end, is very brief. He says, women on film, either naked or dead. Both is better.
Anyway, another old Mel interview started making the rounds again, in which he revealed he reached out to the Santa Barbara police back when Michael Jackson was being investigated, and basically told them, y'all are looking at the wrong person. He gave them the names of people in Hollywood who were doing the exact sick things they were trying to pin on Michael. But guess what? The police did nothing with that information. Nothing. No follow-up, no investigation, no public takedown of those names, just silence. In his own words, I've told the police. I sat there, and I gave them the names. They're on record. They have all of this information. Does that sound familiar to y'all? Because baby, this is giving the same thing that allegedly happened to Corey Feldman when he tried to speak up about the creeps in Hollywood. Corey has been saying for years that when he went to authorities with names and tried to expose what was happening to child actors in the industry, they basically gaslit him, brushed him off, and acted like he was the problem instead of the people he was naming. And even when Corey took it to national television and tried to tell the whole world what was going on, it still felt like nobody in power wanted to actually do anything with the information.
You believe that children are being by pedophiles in Hollywood.
Absolutely.
So why are you sitting down talking to me? Why aren't you sitting down with the police right now?
I've told the police. In fact, if anybody wants to go back to 1993 when I was interviewed by the Santa Barbara Police Department, I sat there and I gave them the names. They're on record. They have all of this information, but they were scanning Michael Jackson. All they cared about was trying to find something on Michael Jackson.
You said, by the way, did not
Michael was innocent.
You've said you've had death threats.
Well, apparently, Epstein and his crew saw everything Mel was doing, and they actually played a role in having him blackballed so the truth would not come out. And from the looks of it, it worked. For years, everyone thought Mel was the worst person in the world when it was actually them. It wasn't until all this stuff came out that Mel finally got the vindication he was looking for. One person said, "I take my hat off to Mel. Someone has to expose these vile people to show the world that money cannot buy you protection." Another person said, Mel was refused by every Hollywood producer and distributor when he proposed The Passion of the Christ. He put in his own $30 million, made the film, distributed and released it, and earned a profit of $600 million. That's a tight slap to Hollywood, and I love it. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think about everything Mel has exposed about Epstein? And do you really think this is going to be the end of their attempts to destroy Mel? Or is there more coming despite all this mess getting exposed? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.